Okay, so, everybody's heard Black Lives Matter and variations of the theme. So, 1865, the American Civil War. Slavery, human slavery, the theme for human civilization on Earth, that war. Fast forward 2022. We have still problems with that 1865 slavery issue, don't we? We still have that issue. Anyways, moving along. Meat eating. I want that to be our life theme issue worldwide for humans everywhere. Meat eating. In 1865, the war was over human slavery. In 2022, the war is over meat eating. Because our civilization felt a great schism, a great split between acceptance and condoning and going along with human slavery and those who said it is, well, the religious people would say it's against God's laws, and the maybe what do you call that? People who are um, it's being blocked by the demonic people a little bit. It assault me all the time. The words. But, I don't know, because I've lost it. And this is what happens when you're attacked for what you just wanted to go and just speak what you want to speak. Because the demonic people do not want to have a fair and open debate. They want to electronically assault me and shadow ban me, which means censor me from other people finding me on YouTube or Instagram. So we were talking about progress of the civilization. In 1865, slavery became a big enough deal that many people said we're really fighting for or against slavery. In 2022, eating of meat. Why? Because Star Wars, the last Star Wars movie, put it on our plate. Chewbacca was caught killing an animal and barbecuing it and eating it. Chewbacca used to be a big time hero in the early Star Wars movies. 1977, an extraterrestrial who was friendly to our friends Luke and Han Solo. But In the latest Star Wars movie, he got roasted himself as a character. As an old man, because Chewbacca is an old man who is eating. And it turned out that, the bird creature was an ally of his. And you're going to say, well, it's a Star Wars movie. I'm sorry, but those little miniature pigs that you like to eat. No, you like to eat the full-size pig, but the miniature versions of them are people's pets. And those little pigs go for walks with the little dogs, and you consider your little dog to be equivalent to human. For you, personally. You don't tell every one of your neighbors. But when you cuddle with that little dog or the little cat, that's that's the one you love. Anyways, that's the way, and that's the argument. Is that some people love their little pig as much as you love that little dog, and that pig is definitely as smart as that little dog, as much aware that you're its mom or its dad. So it's just that in consciousness, as we attribute more and more feelings that another species is valued by us, first as a commodity for meat, but later as a companion. And you want to go, and even back in the 1970s, there was the stories about the Beverly Hills Zsa Zsa Gabor that would put away a few $1 million in their will for care of their pets when Zsa Zsa kicks the bucket when she dies. It's in the will. So really, people do put these ideas around. So just make it a general thing that we are going to recognize that the other species on planet Earth, we've got to stop eating them and stop farming them. And then we're going to have to figure out what to do with predatory animals and parasitical species, because all of that horror has got to stop. I don't know, wild cats killing antelope and things. Oh, that's got to end. Well, it's going to end. It will. I don't know exactly how, because I'm just going to say, my heart says that it must happen, ergo it will happen somehow. I don't know. Okay, so it's just that we need to continue on and say, well, 2022 is not 1865. So we need to have a worldwide issue. And the worldwide issue is meat eating, because Chewbacca was chewed out in the last Star Wars movie. So Hollywood has made it an issue. Not just Bob Burrows. Hollywood made it an issue. I'm going to repeat the issue because everyone knows Star Wars. Chewbacca. You could probably go on YouTube and find the clip. Chewbacca eats porgy. Porgy. Georgie Porgy pudding in pie. Kiss the girls that made you cry. Kiss the girls. Kiss the girls. I think that was the song maybe by Toto. Kiss the girls, Georgie Porgy. And then there was the killing of Georgie, about a gay bashing that turned into a murder by, the song was by Rod Stewart. So, a bunch of leads for you to look it up. But when I say it's time for you to quit eating meat, Star Wars says stop eating meat. We've progressed since 1977 in the first Star Wars movie. And we've gone a long time since 1865. So, talk about adrenochrome, which comes from torturing humans and then taking their blood. You might say it's a fantasy, it's a conspiracy theory, don't pay no mind. Well, then I'm just going to say again, if you think that it's just whatever, do you think it's in bad taste to talk about it? I don't know, but it's bad taste jokes that I don't know, a 12-year-old boy likes those kind of baby jokes, and I don't know, pickle jokes, and then they get into off-color jokes, racist jokes. But when I was a kid, when I was 12 years old, we could go to the mall, and there was like bookstores with full of dirty jokes and racist jokes. It was freely available. It was not censored. It was promoted. So don't call me a racist or whatever. I'm just going to talk about what was freely available during my lifetime. Because it was. Okay, so what else do you want to talk about? Well, why do we think, well, we need to have progress? Do you hear the siren? I don't have a siren machine in my hands. I don't. That's the universe. Synchronistically giving you, it wants you to pay attention to that one. Is it in agreement with that one? Well, up and away, there goes a jet plane. Leaving on a jet plane. Don't know where I'll be back again. Synchrodestiny by the famous American health doctor Deepak Chopra, the Chopra Foundation. Synchrodestiny. Dr. Deepak Chopra, you got to pay a lot of money to go and see him. His book is Synchrodestiny. It's about synchronicity and your destiny. So, I mean, seriously, he's like worldwide recognized as being a doctor and someone who marries your mental thinking or your spirituality to the quantum field of quantum physics, to you as a person. Deepak Chopra is an awesome author. Awesome. Synchrodestiny is about synchronicity in your destiny. I'm not making this up, and I am not schizophrenic, because if I'm schizophrenic, then Deepak Chopra, worldwide recognized, huge best-selling author, a zillion books, then he's schizophrenic. Let's just cut the crap. Deepak Chopra is not schizophrenic, and neither am I. And if you continue to say that I am, Susan Burroughs, my mother, then again and again I'm going to call for you to go to the old folks' home in the category of advanced dementia. Anyways, so making progress, well, we have to have criteria. And given, I don't know, we were talking about life themes. So, a lifetime, a human lifetime, with the idea that you're going to have multiple human lifetimes with reincarnation. So your life theme, because there's books about, your life theme based upon the date of your birth or your astrological time of birth. These kind of things. I don't know, because it's in the human consciousness, these ideas. So, progress of the whole civilization, the law of one teachings, James Redfield and the Celestine Prophecy teachings. Well, if they're not teachings, then think forward 7 generations. That comes from the Aboriginal tradition. 7 generations down the future. When did you actually sit down and try and figure that out? Well, go back 7 generations. 100 years, and people didn't live 100 years, but I don't know, 700 years ago. What was life like in the year 1300? You're going to go, good God, I don't know. It was before Columbus sailed the ocean blue to America. Yes. Well, in those days they had wooden ships and sails. Okay, so that's the level of technology. Was there a big change in technology between 1492. That's the year 500 and the year 1300. In 200 years, was there much technological progress? We don't think so. We call those days the Middle Ages, and nothing technological happened. I don't think so. That's the way it's presented to us. If it's true or not, that's the way the history teaches us. So nothing happened. So in the year 1300, it wasn't much different than the Columbus's day. But that was 700 generations ago. Well, it's very hard in that year to go and predict that, in the year 2022, we'd be talking to each other on smartphones, using Wi-Fi and data, and, that we don't work on farms. And then we have to try and go back to like the Wright brothers in the 1902 to think about how spectacular it would be for human flight. But for somebody in the year 1300, the idea of aircraft, well, I don't know. Leonardo da Vinci was thinking about flying machines in Florence in the Renaissance, which was around, was it 1500? Did they think about, well, ancient Greece, there was Icarus. I don't know, but they didn't fly, according to the history that we're told, traditional history, not the alternative history. But anyway, so we're just going to keep telling you. So we are going to leave it with meat eating. In 2022, either you're doing it or you're not. And you have a definite opinion on it, good or bad, ethical or unethical, based upon us advancing the lowest standards that we allow as legal on civilization planet Earth. And 2,000 years ago, I don't know, whatever Jesus did, he got nailed to a cross for it. In 1865, if you were the wrong color skin, I think your owner could have you killed. And in 2022, if you're a dog or a cat or a pig, if your owner wants to kill you, they can. Because we're also expecting contact with other species, if not this year, then I don't know, in 2,000 years, whenever we develop faster than light travel. So we got to get ahead of the curve, because if there are reptilian kind of species like velociraptors, and they use, if you eat meat, then we're going to eat you, is the law that we follow. Law of vibration, it's called. Look it up. It's what justifies a lot of stuff that goes on in stories that people tell you about reptilians, or if they're not reptilians, I don't know, at least they say that if you don't eat meat that they won't eat you. I mean, that is a standard of judging whether or not, if that's what it is, then they're saying, well, if you don't eat meat, then we won't eat you. Isn't that good enough? And for them it is. And I mean, really, do you want a bunch of velociraptors chasing you because you're an exotic meat? You, human, a specific human, that they might just have a fancy for because they're like this happened in the time of Jesus Christ 2,000 years ago. Salome, she was a slut. I don't know. She was 16 years old and she was a slut, a prostitute. And she worked at the temple of King Herod in Jerusalem. And King Herod had absolute power over the people. And Salome danced and said, okay, well, the payment for me dancing for you, King Herod, is I want you to chop off the head of John the Baptist and bring it to me on a silver plate. And the story in the Bible was, King Herod ordered it, John the Baptist was beheaded, and Salome got to see John the Baptist's dead eyes staring up at her. It was even made into a movie, maybe a black and white movie. So there you have it. Don't you think it would behoove you, which means benefit you enormously, to let go of meat eating so that you don't turn into long pork, which is the Stephen King, the horror author, Stephen King, long pork. Long pork is his term for human meat. Long pork, human meat. Regular pork, pig meat. Some humans used to get, I don't know if they still do, replacement heart valves that came from dead pigs. They're mammals, we're mammals. I do want to tell you again and again, but, it's just that there's been so many people like Dr. Stephen Greer who have been working on disclosure of secret knowledge about real extraterrestrials. We have the Men in Black movies, which I don't know. Once you've watched them and they give you the idea that, many people can disguise themselves. And, I said in a video earlier today that given the work of Dr. Rupert Sheldrake, on morphic resonance, morphic fields, the idea that somehow people aren't going to look like us on other planets is kind of dumb, because if the morphic field for, an upright biped looks like this, then it's the same morphic field and the same quantum field on Barnard's star, which is a close by star to us, light years away, or the Andromeda Galaxy, which is unbelievably off the scale compared to Barnard's star. But it's the same field. The same field of space, it's the same quantum field, and our consciousness touches it all. So if the morphic field for, somebody like us is this here, I'm going to say it'll be the same somewhere else. Even the shapes of things are sacred geometry and, these kind of numbers, famous number. If you don't know that number, then PHI is a Greek phi, and I don't know, it's 1.61 or something like that. I don't know, that's what it is. E is another one of those strange numbers. It's a mathematician's delight, those kind of numbers. And I'm not a mathematician. So anyways, that's as far as I can go with that. But again and again, the reason that we want to put meat on the table as a worldwide the issue, well, it wasn't that long ago when apartheid, which again was human slavery in South Africa, was a worldwide protest. And musicians especially were involved with a song and, constant, anyways. So we got to keep raising our standards so that our civilization continues to advance beyond technology, because I'm electronically harassed all the time for 6 years. because we have the technology that's gone so much in advance of wisdom to use it. And I don't know, but don't we have people on planet Earth now monitoring all electromagnetic frequencies? And is this like what's happening to me? No, because the government of, I think it's Peru, has proposed legislation to stop electronic harassment of people. So that's on the table as well. And really, enforcement of human rights, our rights to move around, and our rights not to be restricted by insane capitalist concentration of wealth and homelessness. I don't know, the way our civilization on planet Earth is right now, it is so that's why you got to be the change and keep calling for revolutionary change. The gift economy, Charles Eisenstein, is the fifth dimensional version of Earth and 5D Earth, etc. Lightworker, hashtag electronic harassment, hashtag a certain agreement of the terrorists that I'm allowed to speak in these videos. But when I look to see the number of people who see my videos, quite often it's zero. It's part of the tormenting of me that I see nobody sees my videos, even though this is my life purpose now, to talk. So my life purpose being making videos to convince you to raise your consciousness is one way of looking at what I'm reduced to. But the proper way, not necessarily the proper way, but and because somebody's going to say, well, if you're at 540 on the scale of human consciousness, don't you counteract the negativity of, well, according to David R. Hawkins, that's true. So, because he said that people will entrain, people can entrain to a higher consciousness people, yes. But Eckhart Tolle, a high consciousness person, said that his aunt was someone who was unaffected by his higher consciousness aura. Unaffected. She was a complete nutter, in the words of Stuart Wilde. Stuart Wilde called people like Eckhart Tolle's, the spiritual teacher, Eckhart Tolle, The Power of Now, was his book. He was on Oprah Winfrey for 5 days in a row. Important person, spiritual teacher, yes. Anyways, that's what he said, that being in his presence, his aunt was unaffected by his terrific aura. She was a fucking bitch. A lot of pain body, he would say, which is another word for demonic, vicious, violent energy vampire. Insane vendettas. On the other side of the street, the question is, well, is your job, is your mission raising consciousness, Bob, or is it not? The answer, according to the law of one teachings, is that yes, my job is to be a catalyst. It is. What is a catalyst? Well, a platinum catalyst to get rid of carbon monoxide in your exhaust for your car. Changes it from carbon monoxide to carbon dioxide. Catalyst in your stomach to break down food made of proteins. So in the law of one, people who are using a lot of their throat chakra, which is speaking, are speaking. And a lot of us have been censored by social media, YouTube, Facebook, because our message is disturbing to people who run the control structures on planet Earth, which include social media. The terrorists that terrorize me have been terrorizing me for at least 6 years, probably longer. But 6 years when they're talking to me about doing me, I'm Truman in The Truman Show, in their version of The Truman Show. Ed Harris is real. Brent Beeson, King Clancy, or Ed Harris, the controller in The Truman Show, for me. And two possible ways that you could look at it is it's run under Google technology, because they many times have talked about Scott Dougal from Google, who was somebody I know. Or they've also mentioned the U.S. military, the Navy, the Portland Navy Yard, it may be where the submarines are, that there's a Navy captain there who is unauthorized but is running this campaign. One way or another, it is real, and I'm getting targeted on my dick pic by frequencies that are horrible, just like you just saw them hit me. They just like a remote control Dr. Ho. So that's electronic harassment. That's electronic harassment. So electronic harassment of human beings needs to be, well, doesn't there like military that monitor these frequencies to see? So somehow, some way, it is being allowed to happen. Because you would just think the NSA must know if there's ways of monitoring every frequency and every possible use of this frequency. Electronic harassment, I mean, the hashtag is commonly used on Instagram, so, I mean, people know about it. So it must be part of the great sting on planet Earth that is allowing people to have as much rope as, again, I'm just going after my dick pic really hard. I don't know, because no one sees these videos. It's just entertaining for the terrorists for me to around and around in circles say the same video over and over again. In my own words, over and over again every day, pretty much the same thing. But the great sting is the idea, or is it a reality, that with QAnon and Donald Trump and the U.S. military picking Donald Trump to be the president to overthrow the cabal, it's called, in the David Wilcock teachings and other people, Jeff Rentz perhaps, that overthrow of the cabal, which is the criminal cabal that is shown to us in the original Star Trek, a piece of the action. That has to go, and we must have, I don't know, a replacement for that. So that was the whole QAnon phenomenon. And the big sting is giving people plenty of leeway to do unbelievable terrorism, like torture me by remote control for years and years and years, so that other people can be sort of wink, wink, nudge, nudge. You can maybe it's being broadcast on the dark web, whatever that is, Tor, web browser things. I don't know, to see who else is interested in coming in and touring through and watching me being hijacked by remote control, and you want to come over to the console, you just push that button a couple of times and watch him be mind wiped or something. We're going to do mind wipe on him coming up. Ed Harris on The Truman Show might say, and it does happen. Or you're just going to turn it up on my dick pic, or make me dizzy, or make me feel like I want to puke, or make me feel like I'm having a heart attack, or make me feel like they're sending laser beam things through me and giving me a horrible heartburn, or making it feel like there's a feather coming across my skin, or that I got an itchy nose, or itchy skin, or something drilling into my eye, or very dry eyes, or a mace from, I don't know, Braveheart movie, or the mace hitting you in the head, or, I don't know, horrible sick feelings in my body, just horrible abuse by the people that appear to me as devils in the imposed virtual reality that you can't see it, but it's imposed on me. It started with voice to skull. The first recognized case of voice to skull disclosure was about 1975 if you look on the internet. But in the Gulf War, the first Gulf War, George H.W. Bush versus Saddam Hussein, I think it was that one, or was it the second Gulf War, where they used voice to skull against Iraqi soldiers and told the Iraqi soldiers, it had beamed it into their head, psychological warfare, hand your gun over to the American soldier and surrender. Because I'm the voice of Allah. It's right there if you look at Havana, Cuba, where American embassy workers were said to have been attacked by microwave attack. So, all kinds of examples. Joe Biden having meltdowns. That could very well be memory wipes being sent at Joe Biden. Very much look like he is being attacked. I would say yes, electronically attacked Joe Biden. So if you think it's Brandon just got dementia, no. Synthetic dementia. Easy to give, yes. Very easy to give. Synthetic dementia by electronic harassment. Absolutely true. There was a time when, I think it was the first George Bush or H.W. Bush went to Tokyo and puked. That would be microwave attack on your tummy. Yeah. In front of the emperor or something as I don't know, some strange sign. Kowtowing somewhere in the cabal, in the pyramid of power. The pyramid's on the back of the US dollar bill. At the top is the 1%, at the bottom is you and me. So anyways, I'm promoting becoming more ethical, irregardless of the people who we think are at the top, or in the cover of the National Enquirer or whatever. Us regular folk have got to go and raise the bar for ourselves and for the next generations. We can't kick it down 7 generations. This and 7 generations from now, they'll stop eating meat. No. Star Wars put it on the table with Chewbacca eating porgy. We must stop eating meat. We must raise our consciousness, and eating meat lowers our consciousness and keeps us stuck. And then we end up with crazy people said to be our leaders that we don't even know who is our real leaders because of all the... Anyways, a piece of the action, Star Trek, the original series on Netflix. You can look at that one.